Hi, everyone. I am Julie Eshleman, and I am a researcher who focuses on disability and inclusion and assistive and accessible technologies. In the last two videos, we talked about accessibility, like what it means, who gets it, and why it's more than just a yes or no checklist. But even when someone has access, that doesn't always mean that they feel included. So today I want to talk about inclusion some more and why it doesn't exactly mean the same thing to everyone. For a long time, inclusion was treated like it's a single destination, like there was one way to belong, one normal way to show up and participate, or if we could just get everyone into that format, we'd be done. But I know that we've already talked about how dangerous binaries can be. That idea of either included or not included flattens what are actually really diverse and shifting and personal experiences. So, just like accessible isn't a switch you flip, included isn't necessarily a uniform thing either. So, let me share a recent experience that really stuck with me. I went to a very dear friend's wedding that was, without ever really saying the word, a master class in inclusion, not just in who was invited, but in how the whole day was designed to let people just celebrate in their own way. So inside the venue, there was this big, energetic space, bright lights, and a DJ, and loud music, and dancing, and people having absolutely the time of their lives. And just outside, there was a slightly softer space. So you could still hear the music, but it wasn't overwhelming. And people could sit or stand or kind of sway along without quite as much sensory input. And then, even further out into the lawn, there were quiet corners with fire pits and snacks. So, no music and no crowd, just calm. Um, and I think what struck me was how natural it all felt. These weren't labeled areas or accessibility add ons, they were just part of the celebration. And I don't think that it took an enormous amount of planning or special knowledge to make it that way. Um, the fantastic couple, both of whom have a lot of experience with disabled friends and family members and work, they didn't over engineer anything in terms of access and inclusion. They just thought about how to make joy available to more people. And it wasn't about perfection, right? Not having the perfectly inclusive space. It was about presence and choice. And that is what inclusion means to me personally. It's not about getting everyone into the same room or designing a completely flawless experience. It's about offering multiple ways to connect. And it's about recognizing that showing up looks different for everyone and making that not just okay, but actually expected, like planning for it. Because here's the thing, I think when we define inclusion too narrowly, we start confusing visibility with participation. We assume that being present equals feeling safe somewhere, and that showing up means feeling actually welcome, and that if someone is quiet or they step away, they must not want to be a part of these things. But inclusion, real inclusion, I think, recognizes that people bring different needs and different energy levels and different ways of showing up, and just making spaces where that's okay. Um, an inclusion that works for one person might not work for someone else. And that, I don't think that's a flaw. It's the whole point. So, how do we actually live that out without making it feel like a massive undertaking or something that you have to super plan for? And I think the first thing is to stay curious, because inclusion is not about assuming what someone needs. It's about being open to difference. So, like when in doubt, ask, what would make this easier or more comfortable for you or for someone I know? Or even, would you like options? I think the second one is to pay attention to what actually works for you. Because if you feel safe or focused or included, it would be so great for you to just pause and notice why. Like, what conditions are in place that are really working for you? Who else might benefit from these similar conditions? And I think that having a reflection like this can help you to notice how systems are designed and for whom, which gives you a lot of clarity in planning for the future. And I think that the third thing is to just normalize choice. Inclusion doesn't have to be loud or be visible. Just give people space to opt in or opt out without pressure. A simple join however feels good to you creates a lot of freedom and safety and trust, which is so important when you're making spaces where people want to be included. And I think because inclusion isn't about offering that one right way to participate, it also doesn't have to be perfect, right? Don't let perfect be the enemy of better. Just be better. It's about building systems and relationships and experiences where people get to choose what works best for them. So thank you for spending a few minutes with me. In the next video, I'd like to build on this conversation again and ask, what do we really mean when we say that something is simple or something is easy within kind of daily life and experiences and practice? And until then, please be thoughtful and be kind and keep making more space for more people. See you soon.